Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I just got back from seeing the newest Jackass movie. I'm a huge, now of course, back in 2022 I gave my review for Jackass Forever back when that came out. And of course, I'm a huge fan of the franchise. Like when I remember being young in like the mid-2000s, I remember getting my hand on the first Jackass movie and I've been a fan ever since. And essentially what this movie is very much Jackass Best and Last. I don't know, and for me, it definitely holds a strong statement as its own of being one of the better ones in the franchise, and I do think it stands on its own 2 feet. But also in the same aspect, it does what any great legacy movie should do, and not only making a movie like this on relevance of its own, but also homaging back to its franchise, pulling clips from the past and making it both funny and sentimental and heartfelt and genuine, and strike that balance in between. And I found the movie brilliantly, quite greatly maintaining that balance within it. And one of the things I really loved about this movie is how it maintained that balance of humor but reverence, but also comedy and the sadness that follows through with it. Because there's multiple times in this movie where you see them and they're talking about how this will be the last, because a lot of the OG people in this movie are, they're in the 50s, they're getting silver in the hair, they're getting silver and gray in the hair and everything, and you see that sentimentality and that sorrow, and they're genuinely getting choked up thinking about it, and it's really not only poignant and smart, but genuine as all hell, and you've seen these guys go through the ringer again, and it's really great. In my opinion, I really quite loved seeing it have its own ebbs and flows within this movie alone, but in the larger franchise as a whole. And because of that, I got a surprising degree of both the sentimentality and sadness as well. But granted, I have not gone through what some of these guys have gone through as well, and I don't want to experience that. I don't want to experience losing the best friend. I'm sure that'll probably happen in the future because, mortality creeps on all of us in that aspect. But I thought this movie was really great within having not only striking a balance between the humor and the levity, but also the relationships, the camaraderie, and everything. I thought the way it's structured within the old clips and the new was surprisingly strong as well. But I would say this: my friend, I got to see this movie with my friend Conrad, and he brought up a good point of saying I think the movie I wasn't relied on it too much, but had too much of reverence for the past. Because this movie's about 2 hours in total, and in length of this movie's about 2 hours long, and it's weird because of the whole hours of 2 length, except excluding the end credits. I think a good 45 minutes of this movie is of new material, and I think it should have striven for an hour or hour and 10 minutes of new material and homaging back, and then homaging back on the old material. And even then, there's a bunch of the old material that we have already seen. Sure, there's some of the old stuff that just show back, and certain things we haven't seen before, especially a cold opening, which I was like, it had my asshole in the total knot. And I was just shocked. They're like, oh yeah, here's one thing that they never allowed us to shoot, and then they had that, and there's one bit which counseled the group from like shooting in LA for like 10 years or whatever, and they're like, we can't do that. No, it's just a whole crap with the whole big skit with them joining Knoxville, dressing up as an escaped person of convict from jail, and it really warmed into the point where he legitimately got arrested. There's so many of those moments in this movie where I'm laughing but having my mouth covered in this sheer stun and shock of it, but also being repulsed. There's one particular moment in this where I'm just like, I'm laughing so hard where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get like a migraine from laughing so hard, or I might throw up my popcorn that I'm eating because there's so many disgusting moments. Hello, buddy. Make a little cameo here. My beautiful boy. Alright. I got you. But anyway, but yeah, that my biggest fault with the movie is that I do think it relied a little too much on the throwing back. I mean, it's expected, and for how it generally does within the narrative of the movie, I think it's well done for the most of it. I mean, come on, this is Jackass. This is not meant to be Citizen Kane. But for the most of it, I loved it. It was super fun, super imaginative, super creative. A bunch of the ones that they chose to show within the movie. And, you know, for what it was, I did find myself getting choked up in the rightful ways. Not just like me wanting to, like, oh, look away from these guys doing their absolute batshit insanity, but also getting emotional while watching it. And I think the movie, by the end of it, strikes a shocking degree of that balance of humor and levity and the way it connects it all the way through on a thematic scale. And it's hard to determine if this is going to be the best or the worst of the franchise. You know, it may not have the historical significance of the first, nor topping my 2 favorites of the franchise, 2 and 3. But overall, I think this is more than a worthy installment, and I would say it's on par with Jackass Forever. And in the end, I just had a roaring good time. I laughed my face off. There's many times I had to look away, but overall, I think this is a great installment, and definitely one of my favorite movies of 2026 so far. And yeah, I loved it. Every single sentimental, hilarious, gross little bit. That even at times where I had to look away. And yeah, in the end of it, I love Jackass. And yeah, this is coming from someone who has the name of Jack in the damn title. And I think I brought that up back in my Jackass Forever review, back when I reviewed that. Bloody hell, that's 4 years ago. That's 4 freaking years ago. But anyway, yeah. I love this movie. It kicks ass, and I can't wait to give you more reviews in the future, everyone. Till then, thank you for watching. Cheers, and I'll see you in the next video, as always. Bye-bye.